Alright, next item I'm going to do is I'm going to put the other part of this throttle lever on. It consists of this second lever, this spring, and this little retainer right here with the little bolt or screw, hex head screw. So this kind of goes on. I can turn this, get a better look at it. This is going to go on right here. Get this slightly better position. There we go. Anyways, so this goes on this way, and then the spring goes on and it hooks on this side, and then has to be actually on this side like this, and it has to be pulled all the way over. So what ends up happening is it ends up being a spring action in both directions. So this is where your actual linkage, throttle linkage, hooks up. So the way this goes on is a ghost in the line right here. The dirt tells me that I know that this spring was rubbing like this, and I also know from the mark on the edge here that the spring was hooked on here, so it can't go like this, it would have to go like this. There we go, like that. Let's see if I hold that in position like that, and the mark on here corresponds with the contact point for the spring. So now I know this goes on like this, and since I know that this retainer piece right here is what this spring actually rides on, then I know that this goes on the outside like this, as opposed to turning it around like this. That's not going to work. So that's kind of like how I figured out how this goes back together. So I can put this like this, and then put the screw in. Get it started. Now I need this spring to be pulled back and hooked underneath both levers like that. So now you'll see that when I come all the way to the stop, all the way, if I push it further, the spring takes over. And then same thing in this direction. So that's how that works. Now I just got to get my hex wrench and tighten up that hex head screw. And there we go. Yet another hex head screw on here that is the same size. So this is the third screw on this pump that I needed a hex wrench on, that they made it all the same size. Talk about nice engineering. Thinking of the servicemen. Matter of fact, I wonder if this hex, just for the heck of it, yeah, sure enough, even the hex screw down inside that little screen filter assembly here, even that one has the same size. I don't know if I can get that one out easily. Let's see, where's my wrench that I had that fit this? Oh, I put it away. I'll get it out later. Oh no, wait a minute. Maybe this one will fit. Talk about suddenly shifting gears and doing something completely different, but I just wanted to see what was underneath there. Yeah, I'll have to get to that later. Alright. So, let me see if I can get a hex drive that fits that with a socket. There we go. So I can tighten that. I don't know if I've got a torque value for that one. Yep, 40 to 46 inch-pounds. 42. That should be 46 right there. Somebody had recently posted a comment inquiring as to what the cost was for the parts that I'm putting in this pump, and I had taken a guess off the top of my head. I couldn't quite recall what it was, but I got my invoice here, and I thought I'd share with you the cost of some of these parts. This kit, which contains the bulk of what I'm replacing here, this kit was $14.62. I think I said it was 20-something dollars when I was replying to that person. I apologize for that. I think I was going from memory, because if memory serves me, there is somebody selling these kits on eBay for $29. But my cost is $14.62. This is out of a company called US Diesel in Fort Worth, Texas. I highly recommend them. Don't have their toll-free number handy, but they've got a website, and their direct line is 817-485-6422. It's 817-485-6422. So if you're doing an old job on one of these pumps, I would recommend them. That's the kit. Pilot tube. This big brass bushing here. Pilot tube was $8.89. There's a clip, the U12249. Honestly, I don't remember what clip that is. 42 cents. That may have been this clip. If not, then it's the shut-off cam clip, this little sucker that goes in the top right here. Because then I've got another clip on here for 50 cents. So one of these was 50 cents and one was 42 cents. The stop, remember this guy? This is the guy that I ordered. I paid $2.52 for him. Turns out there was a new one included in that first kit, so don't buy this. But I'm only out $2.52 because I didn't know. The liner. This is the transfer pump liner. This is the part that we decided, or I decided, we're going to replace. That's this right here. Okay. Transfer pump liner, $11.54. Again, part of the reason why that's relatively inexpensive is because it's an aftermarket part by this company called Spaco, or Spaco Diesel, out of Italy. But I've heard of other pump rebuilders on the web talking about this company and holding them with high regard, so they apparently think the parts are okay. The 4-blade kit, as they call it. That's this little kit right here. This contains the 4 transfer pump blades. That my original ones appeared to have some wear on them, so decided to get those. That 4-blade kit was $13.46. Thrust plate. That's this little plate on the end here in my pump. And mine look kind of worn. Just got a little bit of a wear mark on it. I probably could have reused this in retrospect. It looks like this was more worn on this side, and then I think they flipped it over and reused it when they did the last pump rebuild. And since it's worn on both sides, I decided to replace it because I figured it wasn't that expensive. But this was not available aftermarket, so this had to be sourced through original Stanadyne. So that right there, see the Stanadyne? That little sucker ended up being $17.31. So that's a big part of my cost in the pump right there at $17.31. And then last but not least, we've got my little check ball, my little check valve assembly that screws onto the top where the return line is. That's got that little glass ball inside of it. That is $6.83. Another common item Typically what happens on a lot of these is a lot of guys will break the glass ball on purpose because they find that it gets stuck, especially if little pieces of that flex ring are breaking off on you and getting in there. In other words, if this flex ring right here is disintegrating, little chunks of it end up going up into this and ruining this. So I decided to replace this just because it wasn't that expensive, and I don't know when the last time it was replaced was. So, and then the freight, because I didn't have a whole lot of stuff, they were able to throw this all into a priority mail shipping package and ship it from Fort Worth, Texas to Massachusetts for $8. Very reasonable. So I had it quickly. They didn't gouge me on shipping like some companies do. So my grand total with the shipping was $84.09. So if this works well, then, you know, I'd say that I really came out ahead on this, because I can imagine what this would cost to have done in a professional shop. And I'm not knocking a professional shop. I understand professional shop would do a lot more. Well, theoretically they would probably be doing a lot more for me, but that's all I wanted to say about that.